Top of the morning, top of the morning. How's it going? Thank God for the wake up. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Talking Cancer, My Journey, My Way. Not sure your platform use, but whatever it is, Spotify, Pandora, YouTube, you name it, Apple, thank you for tuning in. I really and truly appreciate you guys following. We are going and we're going nonstop with this. As we continue to move, as we continue to talk about the ups and downs, different facts, different avenues of cancer, paths that people may be on, or maybe I am on. This stuff is, again, for me, it's always just therapeutic for me to talk and get something or things out into the open, not only for myself, but I feel it's imperative for me to do whatever I can to help the next man become aware of situations that may arise during their journey. So definitely a long task, because as we're talking about these things daily, different things are constantly coming up. But at the same time, my emotions and my stuff is going on. So, to try to juggle these different things that come into my mind and things like that, to say the least, it's not easy, especially when you want to totally disconnect from the disease itself. Take like this past week, I've completely disconnected from everything. Even all last week, I didn't want to talk. I didn't want to do episodes at all. I have to be honest with you. Did I feel good? Yes, I felt great. But I didn't want to talk at all. And even now, I'm not compelled to talk, just for the simple fact that I'm trying not to think about this shit. I'm just trying to completely just wipe it out of my brain and just live. I just want to live. I just want to smile. I just want to laugh. But I also feel like I have an obligation to do some things. So what I kind of want to just brush up on today is talking about my stage 4 and what that means. How do I talk about this stuff in regards to my disability or possible disability? Because I haven't taken anything yet. I have taken it once, but last time it was really difficult. I'm constantly having a checkup, make sure that it stays active, make sure that they continue paying me out. That only lasts a year, being that I was stage 3, but now it's a little bit different. Now I'm stage 4, and stage 4 is really, really specific. I mean, you have to be very specific when it comes to filing for disability. And I want to say it's called like compassionate allowance disability or something like that. You have to use your words, because you have to be either deemed stage 4 or terminal. So these words have to be used when you're applying. Now, if you're ignorant like me and don't know a lot of things, but I'm going into things that I'm learning. Social Security Administration has a blue book. Okay, kind of like the Kelly blue book. Did you hear my stomach? That was loud. They have a blue book, and they have a list of things that'll help you qualify for this compassionate allowance or disability. basically saying that there's no cure, all these things. And so when I got to looking at those things, I just had to sit here for a second and be like, okay, well, shit, I gotta face this shit. Even though I face it every day, the reality of, even though I live in a positive state, I also, being in a positive state, I also have to focus on the reality of not beating it. What if I don't or can't beat this? You know what I mean? What if I go through chemo and I have just a bad reaction, bad treatment, I can't work and I can't do these things? You know what I mean? Like, okay, what does that look like? What does disability look like? How long does that last? So all of these things come into play, because even though I'm in a positive place and I feel like I can beat this, the statistics say that it's going to be a daunting task, to say the least. You know what I mean? So I have to, if I'm going to face reality on one aspect, I have to face reality on the other aspect and say, okay, well, what if? What if I'm not able to work and do the things that I can do? What if my memory is not as good and the brain fog is worse than it was the last time? And I still deal with it now. How does all that look? How does all that play out with disability and them being really super strict and on trying to give anybody help? You know what I mean? So you really got to, if you have some sort of stage 4 or whatever, and you're wondering about disability, look into the Blue Book with Social Security. It has a list of different types of cancers. Know the origin of the cancer. Is it treatable? Is it deemed terminal? Did it spread? All these different, there's different words and terminology that they use that's very specific when applying for the compliance allowance or compassionate allowance. Because it goes through different channels, different people that evaluate your case. I believe it's kind of like it goes through the DDS before it then gets transferred back to SSI, whether it's been approved or not. You know what I mean? And they kind of deliver the news. But, it really gets you thinking about your care, your life, financials, things like that. How does this all play out? Now, a lot of you guys know, currently I do have a GoFundMe and things like that. And, and there's so many people that have helped out. But this honestly, it barely touches the surface of what is about to go down. You know what I mean? If my past reaction to chemo was any kind of sign, I had a bad experience with chemo the last time. Even though I feel like I have a better control of my voice and using it and saying no, okay, I'm done, hold up, let's start this back up in a month or whatever. I feel like I have a better control of that and knowing that I could say something. But last time I had almost passed away. So I know treatment for me, even though a lot of the medicines that they are going to use are similar to what I had the last time, I know that I have to be very, very aware of my body and how it's reacting to the meds. you know. So, so when I speak about disability and things like that, or what else can I do, what other types of, the last time I was on disability and I was coming out of it, I'm like, okay, I wanted to extend it because I wasn't able to go back to work yet. I filled out the application and everything like that, and they determined that, hey, we can't give you no more disability. Um, you don't meet the criteria. Um, but, we could train you to do something else. But in the meantime, I have no income. So what can you train me to do when I've been doing the same job for over 20 plus years? What are you going to train me to do that's going to give me money now? So that was the hard part. So when I sit here in this position where I'm at now, where I know, damn, that truck loud, shit, where I know there is going to be a point where I need to probably file for disability. I know that there's a possibility of me not being able to come back to work. What are they going to say? What BS are they going to give me to possibly deny me? And what can I do for them to not deny me? What keywords? And that's why I'm looking these things up. And hopefully you guys, maybe somebody could help me out in regards to this. What, if you're going through something like this or whatever, and you're at stage 4, and from what the doctors tell me, the doctors say that there is no cure. They could prolong my life somewhat, but they say that there is no cure. So does that qualify me for permanent disability or compassionate allowance, what they call it? They're very, very specific. So, those are things that I'm going to continue to look into. But I wanted to bring that to your attention as well. If you're going through something, you're financially burdened and you're things like that, did you know about Social Security, the compassionate allowance, disability? Now, how were you able to get accepted or not get accepted? So I know these are things that are going to be coming up real, real soon here in my near future. So, the biggest thing for me is that I don't want to think about this shit. 2, I hate to think about. I think the biggest part of that philosophy is not wanting to think about it because I don't want to think about stressing my family out so much financially. I don't want to go there, not just yet. I want to keep on pushing the issue. I want to keep on working. I want to keep on doing all these things because that's just what I know. And my last run with disability, I wasn't able to, I depended on them a little bit, but it was like some chump change anyway. But at the same time, it did help at least pay my end of the bills. You know what I mean? So, certain things like that. Anyways, I want to look more into that and find out, is my type of cancer covered? I've seen a lot of stuff in there that dealt with cancer, but I didn't see my cancer, colorectal. I did see intestinal, small and large, liver. Now, I could say that, it has metastasized to my liver. So, maybe that helps qualify me. So all these little things, I got to make sure that my T's are crossed, I's are dotted. So when I go into this application process, they view it and the terminology is right, so I could continue to move forward, and at least I could pay just those bills, at least. You know what I mean? Um, and not only that, but while I'm down, and let's say that I do get disability, I need to find out, okay, is there anything that I could do part-time, remotely, whatever, to kind of add to the money from disability? Because, they only give you I think it's 60, 70% of what you're currently making now. So, but I need to make up that money, and can I do that? Is there a certain limit of how much money I can make even though I'm on disability? So yeah, you know what I mean? So these kind of things just kind of go through my head, and maybe, and maybe that's why I've been kind of not wanting to talk lately, even though I do. I'm in a great place because I'm not thinking about the shit. But at the same time, why am I not wanting to talk about these things? Why am I not wanting to talk about these real life challenges that I am about to face? That's okay, because I'm going to face them anyway. I think the biggest thing about this thing is that I realize that I don't want to talk about it, but I push myself to talk about it anyways. Because I got to get past that. And not only that, but like I said, my biggest thing is to be help to somebody else. So me holding back the questions that I have for myself, I might be holding back on the answers that I could give to someone else. That makes sense? Yeah, I think so. So yeah, but look into that. Look into Social Security's Blue Book, Social Security Administration Blue Book, and see if you fit the criteria for compassionate allowance or permanent disability, however you want to call it. But they have special wording for somebody that is stage 4 or terminal. So make sure that you look those things up so you familiarize yourself with the terminology they want you to use. Okay, so that's me for now, and I'm gonna read more up on this and try to bring you more information in regards to this, because it's a fact. Even though I feel like I'm gonna beat it, it's just a fact that, hey, I might not, and I need to make sure that things are in place for my family as I continue to move forward, and we're able to, financially sustain things, with our home and our lifestyle, things like that. So it's a fact that I have to face. Period. No matter how much my belief in God is, no matter how much I believe that I could beat this thing, no matter how much I pray, the reality is that, hey, this might be my reality. See what I'm saying? Maybe this is the reality that God has in place for me. I need to face that. So thank you for listening. Thank you for tuning in. If you haven't figured out yet, I am living with stage 4 metastatic colorectal cancer. The cancer has moved to my liver, has moved to my lymph nodes, and I have an appointment on the 15th to find out exactly what direction I'm headed into in regards to the chemo and things like that. Because everything that I've been doing so far, I can't say that it hasn't done anything, but the cancer hasn't grown either. So it's kind of just stayed put. stayed at bay. But doesn't mean that I'm going to stop doing what I'm doing. I did let go a little bit this past week. I did eat a little bit. I even had a couple beers. I did. But I'm back into my game and back into what I'm going to do. And I got to get back refocused and do what I do. You know what I mean? Not for me, for my kids, for my family. You know what I mean? My motivation is there. So let me get back on it and go. So look into Social Security. Find out about the compassionate allowance, especially if you're in this stage, 4 or terminal, and find out all your rights that you may have, or the verbiage that you may need. All right. So that's me tuning out. All right. Till next time. Peace, love, one.